about 7 years ago when I really felt like I wasn't living life fully. I still felt like something was missing. I wasn't really living my authentic truth. So I set out on a voyage, almost unintentionally, for a 7-year travel around the world to find my passion. I lived in London for a summer and I studied fashion because I thought fashion was my passion. It is not. I didn't really like it so much, and I had to have like a fake British accent, and I'm from New York, so that didn't really work out. So I came back to New York, and my family told me that we're all moving to Las Vegas. And I was like, what the hell are we gonna do in Las Vegas? I thought strippers, Elvis, like that is not a place where people live. Long story short, my sister, my mom, my dad, and I came to Las Vegas. And I just threw myself in school because I didn't have any friends, didn't have a lot of family, so I just started learning and really just consuming as much information as possible. So through that journey of just learning and seeing what my interests were, I also was just feeling like something else was missing. Like a part of me still wasn't living up to my potential. So I came home one day and I told my parents that I'm moving to China. And my parents were like, what the hell are you talking about? Girls from Long Island, New York, do not go to China. You do not speak Chinese. Even my guidance counselor reminded me that I had failed Italian, I failed French, I failed Spanish. And she's like, I really think this is a bad idea. You don't know how to speak foreign languages. So I told her, no, I'm gonna just go. So I packed up my bags, didn't know anyone, didn't really know where I was going in China. Really, it was a sink or swim situation, and I ended up loving it. I actually found my voice that I could even be here today to talk with you from finding my voice in Chinese. And I know that sounds really random, but it was just a situation where I had to just rely on myself. And I was speaking in this foreign language that no one thought I could. And in that, I was like, wow, I'm so passionate about that. So I came back to Las Vegas, and I ended up graduating. I was a double major in marketing, international business, and I minored in psychology, and I actually have a degree in Chinese language. So now I can speak Chinese. And after graduation, I was studying advertising, and that is not my passion either. So I went back to New York. I thought Las Vegas had a big black hole over it. It had a hex on it. So I went back home to New York, and I lived in New York City, and I don't know if any of you have been in Manhattan, in the East Village. It's like vegan heaven. So I loved it. And so I had a really good job for a medical spa, and I was making really good money, and I loved it. I thought I was like totally Sex in the City, you know, loving life. And then, my job went south. The business that I was helping creating bills, it blew up, and then they sold it. And then my ass was out of a job, I had no money, so I had to come back to Las Vegas to live with my parents, which is not super cool when you're like in your 20s. So I was totally freaking out. And in this whole time of living in China, living in London, New York, Las Vegas, I had been gradually weaning out animal products and animal byproducts from my diet. And it wasn't anything that I was intentionally doing. It was just, I needed everything that I had in my body, in my soul, to be able to accomplish the things I was putting forth. So the more that I was getting on a plant-based diet, I was realizing, wow, I could accomplish so much more. I could do so many things that no one thought I could do. And so I realized what my passion was. It's plants. I love plants. I'm sure you guys here do too. And I realized that this is my passion. I literally searched around the world to find my passion in one of the most basic things that we have on Earth. So I was back in Las Vegas, as I said. I have all this passion. I'm so excited. I finally found out what I want to do. And now, what do I do with it? And I was looking for a job that I could, you know, tell my story or just share about my passion for plants and the power that plants have. And I couldn't find that job, so I had to create it myself. And I started a website called Vegan Consultant, and now it's a real company that I'm growing, and I have a business partner now, and it's a real thing that I had just made up. And I started blogging about my journey, about people who I really admire, like Miss Eco Vegan gal here. I interviewed her on my site, and other amazing people who I didn't even think would write me back, wrote me back, and it's just been amazing. As was pointed out earlier, I won an award. I was featured on the TV show The Doctors. My sister and I were on, and we were talking about our different lifestyles. And it's just enriched my life more than I could even explain. So now I'm in Las Vegas, I'm blogging, and I'm thinking, I'm the only other vegan in Las Vegas. Like, there's nobody else here. Everyone else are strippers and just like, whoop whoop at the club, and like, I'm the only one who wants to talk about plants. But actually, there's like other people who want to talk about plants too, and I found this great organization while I was blogging, researching people online. Meanwhile, there's people in my neighborhood who are as passionate as I am. So I finally got off the computer and I hung out with these people, and it's been incredible. I'm on their action team. I convinced the founder to start an action team, and I'm like, we're gonna take this to the next level, and it's been awesome, connecting with so many good friends who are just as passionate as I am. In the last year in Las Vegas, I'm gonna be like the Viva Las Vegan right now. We have our own vegan restaurant, and it may not sound like a big deal if you're in this area or you're from New York, but this is a really big deal for Las Vegas, and it just happened in this past year. This is our first vegan kitchen, and Chef Myra, she's awesome. So how I'm helping her and all these other great things coming along is I'm talking about it. I'm with you guys. I'm sharing. I'm on my blog. I'm talking about it. I'm sending friends there. So if you are passionate about something and people in your community are doing it, talk about it, share about it, because that's really going to create a big impact. Also, Veg Out is our first vegan to-go at our farmers market, and I always have a special place in my heart for them because I was their first media call. Like, I heard that they were coming to a farmers market, and I thought they were rock stars. I called them, I'm like, you guys are so cool, I'm gonna talk about it on my blog. And the girl, the owner, she still tells me, she's like, I've never gotten a phone call like that before. No one's ever been excited as you that we were coming to a farmer's market to give out food. But to me, I was like, oh, thank you so much, because at the same farmer's market that I found them, the guy who was selling strawberries, I told him I was vegan, and he was like, oh, I know about vegans. He's like, you guys just eat beef, right? And I was like, no. And he's like, oh, that's right, vegans. He's like, so you guys just eat fish and chicken. I'm like, is this a reality TV show? Like, where are the cameras? I'm like, no, vegans, we just eat plants. It's a plant-based diet. And he was like, oh, I never heard of those people. And it was at the same farmer's market as now the vegan takeout food. So for me there, I was like, oh, wow. It was a bright white light, you know, that came down on my farmer's market. Now there's blogs. We actually have a blog, a friend of mine, it's called Eating Vegan in Vegas, and this just came in the last year. And this is some delicious vegan food that you can find in Las Vegas at the Wynn Hotel. Vegan French toast, this is from my birthday. So we actually had a lot of vegan friendly things going on. And so what I feel like my job is now is taking what's going on and just bringing it to the mainstream, because there is a lot of cool stuff going on. This is our first community garden in Las Vegas. This is a garden plot my friend and I started, and we grow the food and we donate it to different charities. So our garden plot for fall, we donated to a women's rehabilitation home, because I went to the home first because a friend of mine started it, and all these women are recovering and their stories are just rip your heart out, like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm so proud of you for what you accomplished and what you've been through and what you're achieving. But their cabinets were filled with all this shit food that I'm like, guys, you're missing a big they don't know it, but we're going to just take over their kitchen. So my friend and I, we just came over with bags and bags and bags of greens, and they were kind of like at first like, whoa, what's going on? I'm like, you guys are going to eat this food, you're going to feel amazing. And they love it, and they always thank me. And even this is a architecture gallery, and it's called Collab Las Vegas, and I'm on the working board for this. And you may think that this has nothing to do with veganism, and I thought so too. Long story short, on a working board of about 10 people, there's 2 vegans, 1 vegetarian, and another woman who's 8 months pregnant. She started eating vegan during her pregnancy, and her doctor was even remarking how healthy she was, and you know, what were you doing differently? And she started eating vegan. And even longer story short, her husband was on my site and found out information about veganism and started going vegan and started cooking for her. And that's how it started happening. And I had no idea, I didn't even know that her husband knew about my site or even started going vegan. So when I was doing a project that I thought had absolutely nothing to do with veganism, it totally came full circle. And what I was helping out with Collab was their social media. So I thought, I'm just helping a friend with a cool idea. I have a talent of social media consulting. I'll just, you know, bless her with my knowledge. And it ended up being something really cool with veganism, which I love. It was an extra bonus. So this is me. I actually have the same outfit on. A little fashion faux pas, but this was me in Las Vegas, and I was really, when I was giving a talk in Vegas at Zappos Delivering Happiness, it was more about, I live this compassionate lifestyle. I know the power of plants for social change, and Las Vegas is going through a really big change. There is a big project called the Downtown Project, where Tony Hsieh's investing $350 million. That's a big number, $350 million in the downtown Las Vegas area. So when I heard that, I was like, what? I gotta be a part of this. So this is their group that they let people talk about what inspires them. So my pitch to them was, hey guys, you got all this money, let's make it conscious and compassionate too. So kind of planting the seeds in my local community. And I have to be honest with you, it's not just me who's doing it, other people who are vegan and eco-conscious are too, and a lot of the businesses that are brewing, they do have this consciousness. Yes, thank you, you should clap. I think that's awesome, because what I was selling to them is Vegas was hit really hard with the economy. We had the most foreclosures, unemployment. It was tough. So when we rise again, make it conscious, and that's, I don't know how I, again, ended up in Las Vegas. You saw that I was traveling around the world, zipping around. How I ended up in Las Vegas, it's still a big mystery to me. But while I'm there, I'm going to make the most change I can. And this is a really cool project that will be happening next weekend. We are taking over these storefronts, 4 storefronts, which have been abandoned, you know, with the economic downturn in downtown Las Vegas. And when I say we, there's a group of people called the Green Jelly who meet, and they're all eco-conscious people, and they're good friends of mine. We're taking this over, and it's going to be solar powered. Yay. Yeah. We're going to have a farmer's market. We're going to have a vegan cafe. I know. We're going to have a boutique with recycled and upcycled material. We're going to have an eco-fashion show. We are going to have yoga. I'm going to have a booth there that will say free affirmations. So I'm going to be handing out free positive affirmations. I also came up with my 10 tips for conscious living. And of course I added, add plant-based choices to your diet to kind of slip it in there, but not be too like the crazy vegan girl, I wanted it to be something that people could kind of hold on to and say, okay, I can add a plant-based choice in my diet. So I'm really excited about this next weekend. I'll be vlogging about it, and I just wanted to be kind of like this ambassador of, this is a place that I never, ever, ever thought this would happen, and it is. This is called Green Chips, and it's like the who's who kind of little bougie group of people in Vegas that are green. And I got wind that it was going on. I got an invite, and it's all people very like suit and tie, very serious, eco-green people, which I thought was a little interesting. And I went to the public health portion of the presentation. And there's all these big people in our local community who, you know, are the movers and shakers. And they're talking about public health, and they're talking about building sidewalks, food policy, but no one is touching on diet. No one was touching on diet in the public health discussion. So I raised my hand, and I said, excuse me, may I say something? They said yes. And I said, well, what if we start talking about plant-based choices, educating students, educating parents, that this is actually what you guys are spending millions of dollars on curing type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure. Guess what, guys? We could do that with plants. And they kind of were like looking around like, this girl's crazy, who invited her? You know, I don't care, and I probably won't be invited back after saying this, but I don't care, because at least I got my 2 cents in, and if they weren't really paying attention to me that day, at least I planted the seed. And that's what I encourage you guys to do. If you can't, you know, make a huge change in your community, at least plant the seeds. Yeah. And in June, we're going to have an event called Health, Healing, and Happiness. And this is what used to be called Vegans in Vegas. I don't know if you heard of it last year. And I'm helping the organizer get the word out, and I helped her with the social media and everything like that. And it's actually a vegan event, but no one knows. No one's gonna know it's vegan, but it's vegan. And so the idea is to get the non-vegans there, and then like, boom, look at how amazing plants are. It's gonna help you change your life. So when she told me the idea, she's like, it's gonna be all vegan, but we're not gonna say it. I was like, oh yeah, sign me up. I'm gonna help you, girl, because I think that's an awesome idea. So that will wrap up my presentation, and just to leave you on a note that I found this quote, and it just really puts the whole picture together for me, and what you're doing and what I'm doing, of just living your truth, living your passion, sharing that with your community. It says activism is the rent I pay for living on this planet. So do you live your passion, live your truth, and please get in touch with me. My name again is Kelly Bennett, my website, Vegan Consultant, Facebook, Twitter. So thank you so much. I know it was short and quick, but I really appreciate it. Thank you.